Hello, everyone. I am Bob Longo, the music resource teacher for the TCDSB. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. I hope you've had a wonderful day with all the International Women's Day events that you've been able to check out. It's great. We're really excited about our afternoon here today. As a teacher and actor, I had the privilege to meet, work with, and learn from my friend Elena Juatco. We performed together in the musical A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. In the musical, we actually played brother and sister. Elena is a leader whose strength and determination in advancing women's rights is admirable. She will share her on and off stage and screen life experiences as a woman in the arts. We welcome Elena Juatco.
Get out my way. I've done this road and will not stay. I have a love that's safe and warm. I'm going home where I was born. My love, I'm coming home to you. My love, I'm coming home to you. My love, I'm coming home to you. My love, I'm coming home to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elena Juatco. Happy International Women's Day. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I've always loved this day. Today is my best friend's birthday. It's also the anniversary of the release of my debut album, Beyond This Line, 6 years old today. And it's also just a great time to pause and celebrate the women that have inspired us and have pushed us to keep moving forward. I'm so excited to hear the questions. I think some students have forwarded some questions for me. I'm looking forward to answering them. And one of the questions was, why do we celebrate International Women's Day? And I really thought about this. Why is it important that we celebrate women? And more directly, how that relates to me. Why is it important that I affirm my value as a woman? So I thought about that. And I remembered this time when I was young, my favorite uncle and my favorite aunt got pregnant. We were going to have a baby. We were so excited. This was my favorite uncle. I was so excited. And we all started trying to guess if it was going to be a boy or a girl. And my mind would change. I would flip and flop, like, I don't know if it was a boy or a girl. And there was one family dinner where I just had that gut feeling. I was like, it's a girl. I just know it. It's a girl. It's a girl. I know it's going to be a girl. And my appa, my grandfather, just looked at me and did not look happy. And my mom explained to me, she said, Appa really wants it to be a boy. And I said, well, why? She's like, well, boys pass on the family name. And so it's better to have a boy. So my mind's just like, what? Trying to process this. I go to school and I tell my friends, and thank God, they're all like, oh, no way. It is way better to have a girl. It is awesome being a girl. I would way rather be a girl. I'm trying to explain to them, like, what my family has told me about, like, I was like, but it to grown-ups, like, yeah, it's cool to be a girl, but to grown-ups, like, boys are just special. And it was a teacher that looked at me right in my eyes, and she said, Elena, I think you're special. And she was right. We're all so special in our own ways. And I think that is why it is important that we affirm our value today, because that is just one example, one instance of many where someone is going to say something, something's going to happen. They're going to treat you in a certain way that just makes you feel small and makes you feel maybe a bit quieter. And in times where these kinds of things have happened to me, it's been enough to silence me. It's been enough to not make me speak up for myself. It's been enough for me to let something that I didn't want to happen. And it was enough to compromise my spirit. So that's why today is important. I am so happy we're here today, March 8th, one of my favorite days of the year, and that I can say I am so incredibly proud to be a woman. I am so proud to embody the beautiful spirit that is woman. And I'm so grateful for every challenge that's come my way and all the lessons I've learned that's made me who I am today. And I'm happy to celebrate all the incredible women in my life that I feel have brought me here where I am today. It's good to talk to you. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to answer some of the questions the students have, but I thought I should just tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Vancouver, British Columbia. I have one older brother. He's a musician, a really talented guitarist. He is my biggest cheerleader, my best friend, but as a kid, he would beat the crap out of me. When I was a kid, you would never see me without a pen and paper. And it's funny that the things that we were so passionate about when we were kids, like for me, it was writing, is the same thing that we're passionate about when we grow up. Like I love writing. I love journaling every morning. It's one of my favorite things to do. I learned how to sing karaoke when I was young at my Filipino parties. That's how I learned how to sing. We had this karaoke machine and I would just sing. I think my favorite song at the time was That's What Friends Are For. My favorite karaoke song now, however, would probably be Dirty by Christina Aguilera. I love her. And I performed in every play, every school musical that was ever put at school, every choir I was a part of. My favorite roles were as Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors and The Witch in Into the Woods, which was my graduation musical. I clearly had a big passion for the arts. But I came from a family of doctors, so I felt very pressured to go into that as a field. So when I graduated high school, I attended Queen's University and I entered as a biology major. Who was I kidding? That didn't last long. At the end of my first year at Queen's, I auditioned for Canadian Idol and I made it to the top 6. And for the first time, I realized that I could do what I was passionate about and what I loved, and that it could touch people and that people would listen. It's where I found my voice. So after that was done, I went back to Queen's. I changed my major. I graduated with a major in drama and a minor in women's studies. And while I was at Queen's, I started working. So I came back. I returned to Canadian Idol in season 4. I was the roving reporter, but quickly learned that reporting wasn't my passion. I really, really wanted to perform. So I started doing some theater. My first professional show was as Snow White in Ross Petty's Christmas pantomime, Snow White and the Group of 7. And a reporter from the Toronto Sun, theater critic, said of my performance, and I'm going to quote this here: musical theater is the last stop on a reality TV star's inevitable downward spiral into obscurity. That man was dead wrong. He also had no respect for musical theater. And he was a loser because I don't know where he's gone. I can't find him online. I mean, he doesn't write anymore. So what I did is I took that article, I cut it out, I put it on my mirror, and I set out to prove it wrong. And that's what I did. I've performed in theaters across the country. I'm from Halifax to Vancouver. I did the Canadian premiere of High School Musical. I did In the Heights. I've done the Buddy Holly story in Vancouver. I got my first acting award during doing Dirty Rotten Scoundrels in Vancouver. I also understudied Eponine and was in the ensemble of Cameron McIntosh's 25th anniversary production of Les Miserables at the Princess of Wales Theatre. In the ensemble, I was the girl that sang, "If Fantine doesn't look out, watch where she goes. She'll be out on the street." That was my shining star. I did get to go on as Eponine 1. It was an incredible moment that I will never forget. And I really tried to center and ground myself when it happened. And I said, don't forget anything, remember it, be present. And I really do remember every single moment. It was so great. I also was in Kinky Boots. That was one of my favorite shows to do at the Royal Alex. And it was 10 years after my Canadian Idol finished that I finally released my debut album of original songs, Beyond This Line. It's on Spotify, and it was one of the scariest, most rewarding things I've done. Probably one of the things I'm most proud of, because I did it independently, and I did it with a friend who recorded it in his his spare bedroom in his apartment. And it wasn't a perfect album, but you know what? It was very me at the time. And I released that on International Women's Day. And then I just wanted a new challenge. And someone did send a question about how to deal with challenges and failures. And I think it's a great relationship to have with challenges and failures, that instead of thinking of them as something that get in your way and hold you back, you think of it as something that you want, that you crave, even. That you crave the next challenge. And so I'm trying to have that relationship with challenges. And so that's what I did. I wanted to shift from theater and focus on film and TV, which is a completely different acting style and something much more intimate. And I luckily got a role on a new television series by the producers of Degrassi called Open Heart. I played a doctor. I was Dr. Scarlett McWhinney, and all of my mother's dreams came true. She was able to help me with my lines and tell me what it was like to be a surgeon. And I met some really incredible friends on that show, but sadly we only lasted one season, and we were shut down. And then I didn't work. I didn't work for a year. And that was probably the hardest year I've had. Jenna Fisher, who's an actress on The Office, said that as an actor, you audition so much and that you should collect 50 no's for every yes. And I was well over my 50 no's. I was like triple that number. And it was at that time where I realized how important it is to have a strong network of people around you. Even now, take stock and take a little support audit of the people in your life, and how they help you and how they support you and how you support them, and how they enrich your life. Because you know those people who are toxic in your life. You just know who they are, who don't support you and who hold you back. That are just not worth having. It is the people like my friends, my partner, who just never let me give up, because they knew that this is just what made me happy and that I had something special. That they were so important to me in that time, as was finding an outlet. And for me, that was an acting class. I audited so many acting classes. I looked around, I asked around, and I just found this acting studio that I just went and just felt at home. So I spent a year studying, going back to the drawing board and learning so much. And I really am so grateful to my acting coach. And to that studio and that amazing group of actors, because a year after studying at that studio, I booked my role as Kale in Jan, which is Jan Arden's comedy sitcom, which is on CTV. That's what I'm doing now. I'm here. I'm in Calgary. We're filming season 3. And we were on, you can stream us on Crave. We just got into America on Hulu. And it has been such a dream job. Also getting to work with Jan Arden and all the incredible cast. This is, it just felt like the timing finally was right. They say sometimes that it's when hard work and preparation just kind of meets the opportunity, and that's kind of what that was. And so that's where I am now. I've been very blessed to be able to be a part of Jan. I was also on one of the last episodes of Schitt's Creek, which is such a good show. And I've been on Hudson and Rex, and I have a film coming out later. It's a thriller called Escape the Field. So that's where we're at. That's me. I'm so happy to celebrate International Women's Day with all of you, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your questions. So bring it on.
What is your favorite part of being a performer?
I love being a performer because it's the thing that just lights me up. I love also, a lot of actors will say this, that we're storytellers. I love telling stories. And I think the biggest misconception about actors is that we're good liars. That is not true. Actors are terrible liars. Actors that lie are bad actors. Acting is actually a practice in empathy. You really putting yourself in someone else's shoes and walking around for a while and understanding their motivations and where they come from and why they are that way. It's understanding humanity, and living as someone else for a while. And it's just one of my I just love telling stories, and I just light up doing it. And I love working also in a group setting, and getting to work with amazing actors. And I just feel like I learned so much too about myself. I learned a lot about myself, and certain characters were like open things up about myself that I didn't know. My character in Jan is just so. She's so ruthless, and she always says what's on her mind. And so she, for example, she'll make me just want to be more like that and not be afraid to hold back my opinion. Just say what I want. Yeah.
Who are some of your role models and why?
It's funny when people ask me who my role models are because I actually didn't have a lot growing up. There was never really anyone that looked like me on stage or on film and TV. And I do remember, though, like the first time I saw an Asian woman on stage, and that changed my life. And it was a production of Miss Saigon, and I bawled my eyes out. I just couldn't believe that was possible. There was an Asian woman telling an incredible story about strength and sacrifice. And she wasn't in the background; she was front and center. That really is kind of what made me want to do that. But in terms of film and TV, I mean, there was also, I loved Lucy Liu. I remember watching her in Ally McBeal, and I loved the kind of twist she would always put in her work. She's such an incredible actress to watch. So I've always kind of followed her career. Right now, a great role model right now is Awkwafina. I think she's stunning as a comedian, like her comedy, her drama. She's also like a musician, and I just think Awkwafina is just like so great right now. So, any girls right now looking for a great role model, I think Awkwafina is great. Obviously, I'm working with Jan Arden right now, and because I have access to her, she's kind of been a role model for me. She's incredibly prolific. She releases an album every few years. She's released a few different books. She does podcasts. She's an actress. She's an executive producer, and she wears so many different hats. And that's something that I really love and admire about her, and that I want to do more of. Yeah.
What advice or inspiring thoughts do you have for girls like us?
The things you are worrying about right now are not worth worrying about. You're not going to think about them like down the road. It's not worth it. In the year 2020, I actually opened a time capsule that I made in the year 2000. It was 20 years old. And I gave myself a time capsule to open. And I was like, what did I put in? I couldn't remember what I put in there. I remember like so much of it was, of course, my writing. I had journals and letters to myself. And I read through it, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, when I was young, your age, I would worry so much. I worried about whether I'd be happy when I grew up. I worried, because I knew that I wanted to be a singer and an actor, but I knew my parents didn't want me to do that. I was worried about it, like, how's I gonna make money? Like, are boys gonna like me? Am I gonna be alone? Like, I just spent so much time worrying, and I'm just telling you, girl, it's like, it's just not. Don't worry. Like, it's just not worth your time. Focus on just being present and what you can do right now. Your mind is like a sponge right now. Just absorb everything and let your passion guide you. And also, my advice: learn how to meditate. That has been a saving grace for me. Meditation. There's some great apps on that teach you how to meditate, and like you can watch like specials on Netflix and stuff about how to meditate, and I highly recommend it. It's a lifesaver, and it will ground you, not just like in your career, but your life and your mental health. Learn how to meditate. Do it.
Do you think that you have ever felt overconfident? If so, why?
There was a time where I thought I knew everything there was to know. I thought, like, I'm good. I know everything that there is. So there was a time, and how wrong was I? I also thought, like, I don't need an acting class. I don't need help with this. I got this. I got this. Always be learning. Always be learning. I'm on set with an incredible actress named Deborah Grover, and she's now, and I hate aging her, but I know she's like in her mid 60s, getting late 60s, and every time we go off set, she's like, "Oh, I'm learning so much, Elena. I'm learning so much from you, and oh, and this actress did this." Like, she's always watched, she's still learning, and that's what I want to do till the day I die, is to always be learning. And it's, when you talk about overconfidence, it's actually, I have the opposite problem, is that before I go on stage or something, I actually don't have a lot of confidence. And it always happens like right before I'm about to do like a big number. Like I was doing Jukebox Hero at the Ed Mirvish Theater, and I had this awesome number where I was like in a dress and I had backup dancers, and I do this big like song, I'm like belting, and it was a foreigner musical, so it was all great rock music, which is what I love to sing. And before that number, I would just lose all my confidence. I would just be like, oh God, like I can't go out there. And I would look at my dresser and I'm like, do you want to do this? I don't want to do it. Do you want to do it? And I was like, why do I feel this way? Because every time I would step foot on stage, I'd be fine. And I would just be like, oh, I got this. And all of a sudden, all my fears go away. My dresser, she was so sweet. She said to me, it's the reason why you get so scared before those big moments happen, when, is that, we're taught, like when we're young, that we should be quiet, and we should be shy, and like we should be proper and not take up a lot of room. But you want to. You want to take your moment and take up your room. So that's why you feel like that. But there's something about theater, which is why theater is so important, is that it just gives you permission. And sometimes you don't need permission. You just give yourself the permission to go out there and be your best self. Take up space. Take up space.
How do you deal with
And react to?
haters?
Stop looking on social media for validation. Oh, don't tweet everything you think. Don't respond to bots, and don't rely on Twitter to have meaningful conversations. They just don't happen. When it comes to social media, I think it is so important that you follow people you admire and whose content you appreciate. Go through your list and think about, like, look at who you're following. And if there's someone that is just, it's just not the content you want, or they're hurtful or saying hurtful things, or representing something you don't admire or believe in, unfollow them or mute their content from your feed. And then actively look out and search for people who you admire. Maybe it's a hobby that you like, someone that's inspiring. Look at that. And if you're looking for someone to follow, like, follow me on social media. Maybe they'll put a graphic down here. It has my handles. Follow me. I'm supportive. And hate is gonna hate. Ugh. Hate is gonna hate.
How do you think that your career has made an impact on your family?
So I have a wonderful husband and a dog. They are my core family right now. And they're the people I've been with through quarantine and all of this. And I have to say, it's really a wonderful feeling to be in a healthy relationship. And to find someone who cheers you on and lights you up. My husband has been so supportive of my career, and because so many auditions right now are through tapes, he's my reader for all of my audition tapes, and he's there for me, and he's present. And he's not an actor, but he does it for me. And so it's cool that, like, I get to, like, experience all the highs and the lows and all the work we kind of get to share together. It's been really cool. And it's funny, I've been in not great relationships, like, before meeting him. It took me a while. And when I finally met him, I was like, oh, this is what it feels like. I don't feel like I'm hiding anything. I feel like I can just be me, and then I don't have to censor myself or show you certain parts that you just kind of see all of me and you accept it and you love it. So yeah, as for the rest of my family, my brother, my parents, and my extended family, it's so great that they're all so supportive. And you know, I talked about how my mom wasn't supportive of me becoming an actress, but you know what, she's kind of my biggest fan right now. She loves Jan. She'll call and then just replay the episode for me and then laugh so hard that she can't breathe. So, you know, I hope that gives you some inspiration. That's, you know, even though she wasn't a believer before, I know that it was because she just had her own fears as a mother, and just, it was her weird way of showing that she cared and loved me, but that now she's actually one of my best friends, which is pretty cool. Thank you so much for all of your questions. Happy International Women's Day, and thank you so much for having me. Bye.
Wow, that was great. It was so nice for me to learn more about my friend, have her share some of our stories and her stories, and just to see the challenges she's overcome, the challenges that she has overcome in her life, and this great success that she has enjoyed and continues to enjoy. So thank you, Elena Juatco. And hello, Lisa and Bruno.
That was amazing, Bob. Thank you for sharing your friend with us today. I really enjoyed that conversation she had with us.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. So thank you again to Bob and Elena. Wonderful presentation. We appreciate it. So to close our wonderful day, we want to give thanks to God for his continued blessings and guidance, and for the wonderful experiences that we've had today. So we will begin. Let us pray to God as we begin with the sign of the cross. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. We are those valiant women, giving leadership in our schools and in our homes, contributing to our community, working for change at all levels of society, crying for justice and mercy, living the gospel, practicing our faith, remaining true to the word. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
At this point in our day, we'd like to thank you. Both Lisa and I would like to thank all of you for participating in our virtual International Women's Day celebration.
And we certainly encourage you to continue your efforts in creating a fair and just world for all.
To our incredible distinguished guests, thank you for sharing your life stories and joining our Toronto Catholic District School Board community today. We were privileged to have you.
To our teachers and administrators, thank you for all that you do to keep our students safe.
And lastly, to our incredible International Women's Day team, your insights and drive and your endless commitment to these events that opened conversations in all our classrooms today and opened the minds of young girls and boys to understand that women's rights are human rights. God bless, stay safe, and be you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.